Lace is the queen of fabrics. It enhances the dullest outfit. It complements every complexion. And it assures attention. In the past, when there's a greater general appreciation of the true value of lace, a person could expect unadulterated envy when they wore a good piece, because that lace suggested wealth, a wealth which could afford to purchase the products of many months, even many years of work by fellow human beings. Lace also suggested patronage of the arts, because many of these complicated designs were drawn by top artists. Even today, the materials and tools used for lace are of trifling cost. What was used for this? A needle, thread, and a good pair of hands. So the value of lace lies in the standard of design, the quality of workmanship, and the amount of sheer manual labour. Maura Rua O'Brien was one of many Irish women who even before 1640 reflected wealth through wearing a collar of the then recently evolved linen lace. Amazingly, there are those who claim that good lace design started only when lace was worn by men, like Robert Boyle, Earl of Cork, and Trinity Dons, like Provost Andrews, who in 1760 livened up his dull professor's gown with an ostentatious display in cravat and cuffs. His lace looked rather like this, imported from Venice for the butlers of Thomastown. For many Irish people, headdresses cost more than a year's wages in the early 18th century. Not all lace was imported. Linen lace was made by Irish men in the 1630s, and it is believed that this needlepoint sampler was made by a Wexford woman. There was a ready market for pillow lace, as people like the Irish actress Peg Woffington used it to trim her hat and cloak. By the 1730s, Ireland imported an impressive amount of superior lace thread. Pillow lace was used also by Lady Arbella Denny, a Kerry woman, who when widowed moved to Dublin and spent 30 years, until about 1780, involved in charitable works, one of which was helping Dublin's starving children by paying them to make pillow lace. Pillow lace is a beautiful craft. For the onlooker, the click of the bobbins is distinctive. And for the worker, there is the satisfaction that even a bookmark is made quickly. This lace is made simply by the twisting, plaiting and knotting of threads around pins which are placed on the design. The lengths of thread are held on bobbins, and the long brass pins are used to guide and to hold the threads in position. Pillow lace making has been revived in Britain, but the only centres for it in Ireland as yet are in Lisburn, where Susan Latham holds classes in her spare time, and in Bangor. This lace enjoys different titles, such as pillow lace, after the work table or pillow on which the lace is made, bobbin lace, because of the bobbins which workers decorate with spangles, and even bone lace, because bobbins may once have been made of the shin bones of cattle. Pillow lace was used for trimming handkerchiefs, clothes, curtains and furnishings. It is not surprising that by the 1850s, pillow lace was made not only in Dublin and Inniskeag, but also in Birr, Clarnbridge and Oranmore. Up to 70 years ago, passengers on the liners calling at Cove provided a market for Waterford pillow lace. Carrickmacross, County Monaghan, the home of one of the best known Irish laces. There, for over 160 years, Irish women have made a style of lace which Italians claimed was invented by Botticelli. In 1816, the rector's bride worked this interpretation of that lace using machine net. Because of famine, local ladies in the 1820s taught the poor of the parish to make this beautiful appliqué net lace. Mary Cullen of Kingscourt, County Cavan, is typical of the members of the Irish Lace Guild in that she learned lace making from her aunt, and she has passed on the interest not only to her daughter Anne, but also to many others through classes at the Irish Countrywomen's Association Centre and Greenan and in her own district. Mari has decided to make a set of coasters for wine glasses and a complementary centrepiece. A century ago, she'd have been able to make her selection from professionally prepared designs available at the art colleges, especially the Crawford School of Art in Cork. But nowadays, as no college teaches lace design in this country, she's forced to trace selected motifs from an old Carrick Cross lace design. Needless to say, old designs like these are treasured by lace workers lucky enough to own them. Mari has no formal artistic training, yet she plots out the shape and draws the design herself. She must plan a good design which incorporates the traditional fill, openwork and decorative stitches so as to achieve the delicate appearance characteristic of Carrick Cross. When the design is prepared and inked out, Mari then transfers it from the drawing paper on which she composed it to a waxed or greaseproof paper. With the paper held firmly, she can then clearly outline the pattern. The clean line which this allows is important, since it is the confident flow of the design which is attractive. The indelible ink pen is important too, because lace is not washed before sale and is therefore necessary to use an ink which cannot stain the piece. At last, the design completed, Mari now prepares the layers of net and organdy. Unfortunately, because of the cost of good cotton materials today, workers are forced to use nylon fabrics, which are a little harsh for lace. In the past, they used only the finest cotton net, muslin and cambric, all specially imported from Brussels and Nottingham. And so we arrive at preparation stages, with the layers of paper to give firmness during sewing, and then the layers of design, net and organdy. All of these layers are then secured together, first of all with pins, and then with plenty of tacking stitches. Bound together, these layers provide a soft, single pad for work. Many of us might shirk the apparently pointless drudgery of this stage, but every stitch is essential to ensure that the design will not slip at any stage. Carrick Cross lace survives as a craft, particularly because the Sisters of the Louis Convent took over the organisation and management of the local industry a century ago. A further short tacking stitch is used so as to be absolutely sure that the important organdy is held taut over the design and there would be no unsightly wrinkles in the finished piece. So now the work can begin. An elbow length of thread is measured, giving a length which should not allow any knotting. The needles used have to be the finest available so that no holes are left in the work. For Carrick Cross lace, a thick crochet cotton is placed along the lines of the design, and while this is held in place with the left hand, a very fine thread is used to couch or whip that cotton permanently into place, picking up only the fabrics. The whole design is traced in this way. Lace workers, obviously, cannot be paid by the hour. The needlepoint bars are a special feature of Carrick-on-Cross. These are made of 3 strands of fine thread, which are then covered with buttonhole stitches. Notice, though, that the eye of the needle is used to lead at this point, so as to protect against the needle sticking in the net underneath. An important feature of Carrick-on-Cross lace is the picot or looped edge, made with a simple twist or loop of the thread, which is then couched down. This was considered such an attractive feature of embroidered net laces that it was copied by machine lace. And so, the design traced and edge completed, Murray now cuts away all of those tacking stitches to release the lace from the pad. Those tacks fulfill their function, as all of Murray's lines are correct. It's at this stage that many a good piece of needlework was destroyed, but Murray, using a lace scissors with one point flattened to prevent accidental piercing of the net underneath, now starts to cut away the excess organdy. Work like this needs keen eyesight and a very steady hand. Because of these skills required, it is not surprising that Carrick-on-Cross lace making was taught in the past to girls of between 8 and 15 years of age. They sometimes became the principal breadwinners in their families, attending the centre from dawn to dusk, 6 days a week. For that, they could expect a handsome weekly wage of 17.5p, about the year 1840. Few considered that wage trifling, and so these centres only accepted girls who were the most obedient, industrious and clean. The flattened tip of the lace scissors can be clearly seen. Carrick-on-Cross lace was sought after by the fashion-conscious in Paris and London. Indeed, a century ago, fashion magazines strongly advocated Carrick-on-Cross lace gowns for all opera-going ladies. As this lace was not only soft and feminine, it had an artistic design, while it was inexpensive. The fashion writers commented particularly on Carrick-on-Cross lace pops, or dots, which are scattered like snowflakes over the pieces. This lace is identified with Carrick-on-Cross town, yet for many years the principal work areas were in nearby Crossmaglen and in other centres throughout the country. Although each of these centres remained faithful to the basic applique work, they all developed their own varieties of decorative stitches, some of which are used here to give shading and richness to Murray's finished piece. Dublin couturiers started to promote Carrick-on-Cross lace in the 1960s. People like Éire Gilbert had a new approach to the craft and demanded lace in the colour of the outfit and worked on her own specific designs. She emphasised this light effect of Carrick-on-Cross by using it over naked arms and with luxurious silks. About 10 years ago, Ib Jorgensen created this Carrick-on-Cross lace gown, which brought traditional lace a great step forward, showing that it can be adapted and used for modern design. The other lace enjoying interest at the moment is Limerick, a lace developed in the sweatshops of Nottingham. This lace was introduced by Charles Walker, an English lace manufacturer who established a factory where the Good Shepherd sisters later built their convent. He brought over 24 teachers and did so well that within a short time he had as many as 1,700 Limerick people working for him. There are two principal types of Limerick lace. Tambour work, in which the design was followed with a chain stitch, as in this collar. This was considered the simplest type of Limerick lace, and was therefore the first taught in schools. Pupils then progressed to the run and darn, a type which, when well worked with its varieties of enrichments, could achieve a gossamer quality. Because Limerick lace is worked on a large wooden frame on which the net is stretched, early work was done in centres under the watchful eye of a superintendent. But Nell Mangdon of Lismore, County Waterford, works in the comfort of her home on a piece of run and darn. The design planned and inked by Nell herself is placed under the stretched net. She then follows the outline in a simple run stitch, using a slightly thicker thread so as to give definition to the design. Nell, like these other lace makers, has won many awards for her work at the annual Royal Dublin Society's craft competition, which for many decades was the only official recognition to which a lace maker could aspire. In recent years, some vocational education committees have established lace classes, and through them, people like Nell have been pleased to teach others the lace-making techniques, so that they also can enjoy making lace at their own fireside. The outline completed, Nell then fills in the shapes with a darn stitch. The fill or decorative stitches are important in Limerick lace too. Over 40 such stitches were known once by names like Bird's Eye, Plum Seed, Chapel, and the Mrs. O'Brien stitch, named after a lady who recommended a new approach to design by taking inspiration from the flowers of County Clare. Mrs. Vera O'Brien's suggestion was followed by other centres, especially in Kinsale and here in Kenmare, where the traditional wheat and vine is combined with new flowers, all in an unconventional mixture of yellow silk and white cotton thread. The Catholic Church was perhaps the greatest lace patron. Unfortunately, too many clerics loved their lace not a little, but too well, and so many of them were buried in their finest lace, thus destroying not only the lace, but also the country's documentation. Mrs. Vera O'Brien's demand for change was not a voice in the wilderness. The marvellous James Brennan of the Crawford School of Art in Cork and some others led a strenuous campaign to improve the standard of design nationally. He was certainly well pleased with Kenmare, where a few talented members of the community drew designs for Limerick and here needlepoint lace, working sections to prove the feasibility of the designs. The success of this whole campaign for the improvement of the standards of Limerick lace can be seen in the fact that it was adopted by fashion again. As here in this cream satin combined with run and darn Limerick lace of about 1905. The parasol is in tatting, which is one of the many other kindred lace forms made in Ireland. Crochet was introduced into this country at the time of the Great Famine and became distinctively Irish. It was considered an ideal craft then because it could be made by everyone, male and female. A child, it was claimed, could learn crochet in 2 to 3 months. By the age of 8 years, they could crochet a collar, and a few years later, they could be expected to copy unusual wallpaper in crochet. Molly Moore learned crochet from her mother when she was 6 years old. Throughout her lifetime in the Glen of Amal, Dunlavin and in Wicklow Town, she has spent many evenings plying a crochet hook. Molly is working here in an edging for an Irish crochet tray cloth. She starts with a central motif. A thick crochet cotton held in the left hand is used as padding, and working over that with a crochet hook and fine thread, Molly makes a rose with layers of raised petals. Such raised roses worked in the finest crochet cotton are typical of the best of Irish crochet. From the central motif, Molly extends the piece with chain stitch and loops. As Irish crochet designs were for many years based directly on medieval Italian lace, it is not surprising that enrichments like these picots or knots are survivals of that early work and are now considered essential to Irish crochet. When the basic square shapes are completed, they are joined together and then will be used to trim the linen cloth. Another type of Irish crochet is that in which the motifs are made separately and then all joined together with crochet bars. In the past, in the presentation conventiole, one group of girls made the motifs, while the other joined them together. Unfortunately, not all achieved an intelligible design, and many simply scattered the motifs, so as to create a good, rich effect. The majority of Irish lace centres were established in our towns, such as Kenmare, at times of severe depression. In the south of the country in particular, the convents added to their religious and educational roles by starting lace centres. These industries were directed from the lace rooms, where the workers and the buying public were interviewed by the manageress. The lace room in the Poor Clare convent is now managed by Sister Frances. The room is still decorated with prize-winning pieces of needlepoint. Indeed, Ireland's pride in the late 19th century was needlepoint, which is sold throughout the world. There is one piece at Kenmare still unfinished after 80 years. It shows that needlepoint, like Carrickman Cross, is worked on a design under which is placed layers of cotton for padding and firmness. Outlining threads are tacked along the edges of the design, and then, using that thread as base, the spaces are filled in with buttonhole or various loop stitches. When the work is completed, the binding threads at the back are cut away and the lace released, like this. Mary Cullen and friends meet for a social evening at the farmhouse of Patsy and Bridget McCabe near Kingscourt, County Cavan, to make an altar cloth for the local church.
Hello, Anne. Hello, Helen. Hello, Mary. Hello, welcome.
I often wondered, Mrs. Cullen, that they never started a lace-making class in Cully.
Evening classes, is it?
Yes, an evening class. But on winter nights.
They're trying to get a class going, Mr. McCabe.
Yeah.
You need 12 names.
I'm sure we get that amount interested. Do you think? Oh yes, I'd say so.
Maybe Mrs. McCabe will come along, will you?
Yes, I will.
You will?
Please, God.
And join the group.
Surely.
The only thing is it's very hard to get young people. They might come along for one night, you know, and it's often hard to get them to stick to it. Yes, yeah.
What do you think, Mrs. Ward?
Well, I thought if they're interested, the young girls around,
The young girls.
the young ones, and some of the older women, it'd be a night out for them as well as learning the lace.
Great.
Yeah.
Mommy, will I sew over this now?
What part is that?
That was.
You see there, go down that side to that point, right? You need a good long thread for that. And then do a bar across with a buttonhole stitch. You didn't have to thread any of your needles to come to the thing
Oh,
tonight.
not tonight.
It's a good idea though to have some ready threaded when you come.
It's easier threading them at home, because when you come, the eye of the needle is so small.
Although beautiful lace was produced in the past, the lace workers often endured much hardship. What a difference it is today. In creating such heirlooms, this group are carrying on a work which for centuries has been one of the highest art forms in Ireland.
Mrs. Cullen, what are we going to fill in the eye with?
The eye of the bird, is it?
Yeah.
That's embossing.
Is it hard now?
No, once you get the circles organised, it's not difficult then. I think you've seen it on Mrs. Ward's tabernacle cover.
Yeah.
You know, the one that Mrs. Ward did.
And that's something the same design that's in this altar cloth now as when that is not right.
Yes, it is.
That's the idea, is to match the two up together.
I think I'll make the tea soon, ladies, will I?